It's easy to hear your favorite artist on WFPK from wherever you are. Listen on your smart speaker, live stream from our website at WFPK.org from Louisville Public Media.
Consequence Podcast Network. Welcome to another edition of Kyle Meredith With. It's the interview series presented by WFPK at WFPK.org, Consequence, and the Consequence Podcast Network. Thanks as always for making your way here, checking out the episode, the whole series. Hopefully you like what you hear enough to hit the subscribe button. I do put out 3 new interviews every single week, so it's a great way to keep up with your favorite artists, discover some new ones, know what's happening in the music world. All those usual places: iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Acast, Podchaser, NPR, YouTube for the video versions, or anywhere you get your podcasts from. I'm Kyle Meredith. Today, my guest, Miles Kane. Going to be talking about the new album, Change the Show. It's an album that finds the British artist leaning into his love for Motown. Now, he's also the co-frontman of the Last Shadow Puppets. We're going to be talking about his duet on this record with Corinne Bailey Rae, writing about age, also where his love of boxing intersects with music, and his new clothing line, too. He's been done a few of those through the years. Miles also dishing about co-writing with Lana Del Rey on her latest record, getting advice early on from Paul Weller, and the future of his other band, the Jaded Hearts Club, as well as what to expect from his upcoming tour, which he says he's actually going to be probably at least playing some of the Last Shadow Puppet songs on this tour. So let's do it. Discussing Change the Show, it's Kyle Meredith with Miles Kane.
How you doing, Kyle?
Doing great, man. It's a pleasure to talk to you. Congratulations on this new album.
Oh, thank you so much, mate. Thank you.
Change the Show. It's fun. First off, it's really, really fun. I've hit repeat on this thing probably a dozen times this week, and I think I've already got my favorite tracks and everything. I mean, what you're doing here, it sounds like a great step forward for you. Let's start with the broad question. How does this record start?
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm glad that you think that way about it, man, because that's how I feel about it. And it's, it started. I had a record before this called Coup de Grace, and I started writing that during that sort of the campaign of that album, really. And then a few songs were written that were in this sort of world that was had these real personal lyrics but like in a sort of soul-y Motown sort of style of song. And it's something that I've always, I think, hinted at, and especially on earlier records, I have a sort of quite a glam rock side and a bit of a Motown side, and this was just something that just seemed to just come, in the forefront of the writing. And it became, once I recorded a couple of songs, it became very clear what this album would be. And then one of the last songs written for the album was Change the Show. And I recorded it. It was one of those ones, I woke up one morning and, you were just having your dressing gown, having a coffee, didn't have anything of the song, and the news was on the TV and everything seemed really negative, and I just turned it off as if to say, I'll change the show. And then I started playing the acoustic, and I was going, we're too busy losing battles, I get bad, but I always get battered. And it's almost like a nursery rhyme or something. And then when we took it in the studio, it became this sort of, what I think will be quite an anthemic song. And that was it. That was where it sort of glued it all together. And it was like, right, okay, I think a couple more like that, and I'll have a great record here.
It's interesting, too, because I'd been wondering, hearing you talk about sort of having a sense of what the record would be, or maybe even a vision. Like, did the sound influence the lyrics? Did the sound push the lyrics, or did the lyrics push you towards that sound? Did it happen one way or the other?
I think it would be lyrics at first. Like most of these songs were all sort of were all written before taken into the studio, and I guess it comes from the lyrics and my guitar. I wanted no fast. I wanted no pedals. I just wanted like a small old Fender Champ with like the Telecaster, and it just be like those Motown chips. So it's like chick, chick, chick. I wanted my guitar to be like this rhythm percussion thing. And it was quite clear when I got in with the lads that produced it, these 2 young lads called Dave and Oscar. We did it together, and their playing and their taste is so on point with what mine is, and you know, when they plug in their bass or they hit the drums, it's got that feeling. Do you know what I mean? So it was pretty, and they got my vision and know my references, and you know, we're like, oh, should we make it a bit like that Four Tops tune, or should we put a bit of that T-Rex tune? You know, like we'll listen to it and we can get into and get it. We all got on like the same page, you know.
I know, you know, you and I have grown up with music all around us and everything, but do you remember your entrance point to especially those 60s Motown soul sounds, like your glam rock influences and your mod influences, like especially like when I look back, like the Who loved Motown, you know, and it seemed like that whole scene was sort of born from, you know, it's the British version of that. Like, was that also your entrance point, or did you find it sort of in a different way?
Yeah, I think it's just all, I mean, it's all kind of rock and roll. It's just, you know, it's still, to me, it's all sort of, I mean, to me, it's so similar. You know, some people may say, oh, but glam's glam and rock, Motown's Motown. Yeah, it is different, but it still comes from the same thing in a weird way. You get that same sort of feeling, do you know what I mean? But, I mean, it was from growing up, you know, like in my mum's house and my nan's and any family party, you know, the Four Tops, the Temptations, Diana Ross, Supremes, you know, that they would be blaring out loud, you know what I mean? And obviously you're mixing the Beatles and Bowie, T-Rex. So it's been a part of my like life really. And I never, even when I heard it when I was a kid and stuff, and it's like just been in me subconscious, I think. And it's never been like, I never sort of rebelled against it. I connected with it quite early, you know what I mean? Sometimes when your mum and dad play songs as a kid, you're like, oh no, I want something else. But for me, it gave me that feeling that I had today, you know.
I mean, there's definitely, I'm not saying anything that hasn't been said a million times. There's definitely something about that is the reason why we revisit it, why you revisit it, why, you know, I know you're teaming up with Corinne Bailey Rae on this record, and I saw on your playlist online, you've got Silk Sonic, and like everybody sort of nods in their own way to that era, you know, with these artists. And I don't know what it is, but there is something that just keeps pulling us back in. And I love the angle that you're coming at it.
Yeah, man. I know. I think it's just undeniably great songs, and it's just done in such like not a contrived way, and I think that's why it stands the test of time.
I brought up Corinne, and I'll quickly ask. I know you guys have done some work together before, but how did Nothing's Ever Going to Be Enough come about?
She's we've known each other for a long time, but we hadn't spoken for a couple of years, and then maybe a bit longer, and then one night I was just in the kitchen and I had a few wines. I was listening to tunes, and one of her songs came on called Paris Nights, and I was just like, oh my God, I wonder how she's doing. Do you know what I mean? So I just texted her. I was like, oh, what a tune that is, and oh, you're doing well and you're okay and all that stuff. So and then you know we had a little catch up, and then we started sending each other songs and demos and what we're doing and all that. And then I sent a load of tunes of what I was working on, and it was Nothing's Going to Be Good Enough, and I was still sort of tweaking a little bit to lyrics or whatever, but she was like, I can't stop singing this song, and my kids are singing it, and whatever. She's like, texted me a couple of times about it. I was like, you know what, I kind of really want a duet on this album, and I think that song is quite duetty, and we can just tweak a few words here and there on the verse, but we could do a duet where it'd be like a real back and forth, you know, a bit like It Takes Two, baby. Right. It Takes Two. You know, something like that. Or like I Can Tina, you know, Sonny Cher, where you're singing at each other. So, and it did, and it worked out really well. And it's I'm really happy that we did it, and it's given the album like a nice little icing on the cake, you know.
Especially the way you're saying it too. Like, it's not just the two of you all singing the same thing. Like, it's writing as a conversation with someone else. That's got to be an interesting way to write.
Yeah, exactly, mate. You know, it's not just like you've got a guest vocalist singing the chorus, you know, and it's like a bit cold or meaningless. It's like it's got meaning and it's got soul, you know.
Well, the lyrics itself too, and I haven't complimented you on that because it's really fun to listen to how you're doing your phrasing on this record, the stories that you're telling. Well, I'll ask again the broad question. What were the stories you wanted to tell on this record? Because some of it seems a little coded, but there's a lot of straightforwardness going on, but it's all really poetic.
Well, thank you so much. It was lyrics. I so enjoyed writing the lyrics on all these songs, and to go deep and to sort of spend time on them, and was something in the past I could struggle at times, or I'd find it hard work to get it done, or once it was done, I'd just be, let's move on. And you had that mentality at one stage, but with this one I really wanted to, well, it flowed so well and it was enjoyable, and then if I wanted to go back and change anything, I wouldn't beat myself up about it, and I let myself do it. And a lot, it's all from just how I've been feeling at the time. And if you're looking back, you're looking to the future, and I see it as quite like looking in the mirror as well. Do you know what I mean? It's there's a lot going on, to be fair, mate. Yeah.
Well, like a song like "See You When I See You," like, so are you talking to yourself, or is this about someone else? Maybe a bit of the both.
It's a bit of both, to be honest. Yeah, it's a bit of both. I couldn't quite decide, but it's like sometimes it's because quite like a lot of chaos all around, and I'm almost like saying, I'm comfortable over here, you go do your thing, and I'll see you when I see you, if that makes sense,
Yeah. Well, I know it's some people, you had said at some point, maybe it's a press release, but that pointing out to you about it's an album considering age in a way. I mean, you've got a song called "Coming of Age," which is fun when you're 35, I think. But why do you think that seemed like the thing that was pulling you lyrically?
I don't know. I think it's just, well, I am getting older now, and I think you change so much in your 30s, and your 30s, I think, are the best one. I've probably my happiest my life's probably been since I've been 30 onwards, and I think I'm just more confident in myself, and I don't need to act up, and I don't need to be anyone I don't want to be, and that's a nice place to be, you know what I mean? And I kind of wanted to write about that, really,
That moment when you finally get really comfortable. That's a nice moment.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I am not at the pinnacle. I've got a lot of work to do. Believe you me, I'm like, you know what I mean? But it's an improvement, shall we say, you know what I mean? I'm not at the top of the mountain, like, no. But you know what I'm saying.
I do know what you're saying. I'll hit one more too. Don't Let It Get You Down. Those lyrics, especially in that first verse, they're like, it's almost like a train of thought, if that makes sense, like the way it's structured. I don't really have a very specific question other than just asking you to talk about that one as well, because that one, it's definitely one of my favorites on this record.
Yeah, it's like, it's just got a storyboard of a movie, you know what I mean? And it's so visual, those lyrics. And it was, it's like, and there's a lot of words, and there's like, the verses are quite long and stuff, but it never seems to drag. It's just got so many like little hooks in itself. And again, it's like all those worries and things of like when you're feeling down and stuff, and just remember or negativity or people saying mad shit, and it's just like a word to say, don't let them get you down. Do you know what I mean? And like, it'll pass, and don't be dragged down by any nonsense, basically.
I'd already listened to it probably 4 or 5 times before I looked at the lyrics on the page, and it hit me. I was like, wait a second, how is he saying all that with that so much melody? It almost seems seamless on the record, and it doesn't on the paper. That's a really good trick. That's just a compliment thrown to you. That's
great, man. Thank you so much, mate. Yeah. There's a lot of tongue. It's like they do seem quite very wordy in that, but I think the way we've delivered it, it's that was the plan. It seems quite smooth, doesn't it? Thank you.
It's the other part of that song is driving me a bit batty still. I was hoping I'd have it figured out by now, but those background vocals, that was good. That was really good of me.
Yeah.
Are those a nod to something? Because I'm thinking of a song in the past that does sort of that similar thing. I didn't know if you had something in mind.
I don't know. I love it. I had a song on my first album called King Crawler that had a similar thing, and for me, I don't know why. there's been quite a lot of my songs have got that I guess it stemmed from like old westerns in a weird way. It's like, I don't know, there's something about that whistles or those high I's with the twang guitar that has always resonated with me. I don't know where it comes from, but I can only, if I had to pinpoint it, I'm just, when you were asking me that question, I just started thinking of like Lee Van Cleef and Clint Eastwood and those Western films.
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's exactly where I'm taking that from. But just one of those moments, you get hung up on that. You're like, oh, what is that? What is that? I've been stopping.
It's a bit like, wow, 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 wow. What's that big famous Western, the Morricone one?
Yeah, the Morricone, right.
There's a bit of that in a bit of in a weird way. Like, yeah.
Either way, it's so fun. And especially, pairing that with Never Get Tired of Dancing. I mean, that's such a bop and everything. I mean, like, that's what I'm saying is like song after song after song. It just doesn't stop, even when you're like changing the mood and everything. It's such a well put together record.
Oh, mate. Thank you, man. Yeah, Never Tired of Dancing, just an ultimate, that's like a party song, you know what I mean?
Right.
That is, and that was actually, when we say close the curtains and move the table, I'll never get tired of dancing. The day before, me and my mate were in the studio and we were doing some writing and stuff. And the next day, the first day we went out and we ended up just getting like smashed drunk, whatever. We ended up back in my house and playing Motown super loud. And me and him actually were just in my living room dancing, closed the curtains, we moved the table and all that. The next day we got in the studio and I was like, oh my God, I feel awful. I've got nothing. And I was like, do I remember last night when we were like moving the table and we did all that? So we just started strumming it. Close the curtains, move the table. And then it just wrote itself. It was one of those like, beautiful moments. So the lyrics of that chorus actually happened the night before it was written.
Oh, I love it. I do. I love it. It's so fun.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a stretch on this one. You talk about, two of your other biggest passions being boxing and wrestling. Do you find a way that they all work together with the music?
Yeah. I think mindset, creativeness, and like, the sort of the drive to be really good at one thing, you know what I mean? And like that mindset to have that is what brings it together. And also, obviously boxing's so intense, and sometimes I do think, well, life and music and career can be like that as well. And it's how you balance it all. And then there's a flamboyant side of like wrestling and like entrances and the way things are filmed and video. And I see so many comparisons of it, especially like the start of a gig with the lights out, the screens come on, that building, that anticipation. I'm all about an entrance. Like, it's very dramatic, I know, but for me, like walking on the stage is like a fighter walking to the ring. That's how it makes me feel, and
to be doing so much too. I mean, you talk about that, you have boxing and everything, you have the music, and you've got a clothing collection that you've been talking about lately.
Yeah.
And this is like, tell me about that, because this has been fun to watch as well.
Yeah, man. It's like, clothes for me with everything else growing up has always been a part, whether I was in Liverpool in a tracksuit, hanging on street corners, it had to be the specific tracksuit, the black Lacoste. It's always been like throughout my life so important to me, And then a few years ago, we did 4 collaborations with Fred Perry, and it was something I so enjoyed. And I'd be like going in the office helping them. I'd design them. I was so involved. It wasn't just putting my name to things. It was like, it was so much fun to do. It was an absolute pleasure. And then this one as well is with this smaller brand that's like more rock and rolly, and it's more like, an affordable, those high end brands like Celine and Saint Laurent and that, they're so expensive. Like, it's like a more affordable, street level prices. And they're really small, but they're cool. And they asked us to do, and I'd been wearing them anyway, and I knew the guy, so we did this little collaboration, and again, like went into detail, designed them for about a year, and then it's just come out now, like some leather jackets and cool little shirts and stuff. So it's it's been really fun. I really enjoy that as well.
Yeah, what a cool outlet to just kind of put on top of everything else.
Yeah, it's great, man. And again, it's part of me, and it all looks and fits in the same picture. Do you know what I mean? It's not like disjointed. Like,
I know there's a lot of hours in a day, but I'm still surprised in how you fit some of that in there, just with the music and not even just your solo music. Of course, we haven't talked about, you've got the puppets, you've got the Jaded Hearts. You were co-writing. Did I say? I didn't even know that until I started researching this, that you co-wrote a song for Lana Del Rey's recent record, right?
Yeah, and it's called Dealer. Yeah. No, I know sometimes I feel like I don't do enough, but I am actually, I am knackered today. Today's the day where I'm feeling like I needed a day off. But no, I mean, it's all great. It's like, I love what I do. And to me, doing any of those things that you've mentioned, or whatever they may be, co-write a tune with Lana, the clothes, the music, it's those things, it's what makes me tick. And if I don't do them, if I miss a week of not doing even something involved in any of that, it does get me down, to be honest. So I'm fortunate. I just hope that I can continue really doing it. But the Lana tune is an amazing song, and I'm so glad it's been put out, because I think you see a side of her that you haven't really seen before, and I think her voice on it when she comes in after my bit is it's incredible. Really, it puts hairs on the back of your neck. It's one of them.
But it's always cool to see, especially people stretching out, co-writing, in these kind of instances. Like, I don't know if it's weird to call it co-writing, because it also seems like an extension of just write, like what you did with Corinne, or even what you did with the Jaded Hearts. I mean, did that feel like something different, or did that still feel like, sort of the same lane?
Yeah, same lane. And it's not, and I think even if I was to do it, and I guess I am singing on that song, but even if I wasn't singing on it, I'd still, if it's someone that, well, if I like the song and I like the artist, then they're getting as much buzz as what I am at writing it. Like, I've got no problem with giving someone a song, even, or I'd like to do it with like younger artists as well. I think to encourage them, like I had when I was younger, and I've done a couple of little things from small artists, but it's so nice to like when they're, say, like a new artist is still figuring it out, and they don't know quite which way to go. I think it's good to show encouragement and give them confidence to try different things and not to be scared. And if it doesn't work, it's okay, and I think when you see that and you can see them grow off, say, some like little advice like that, like what I had off, say, Paul Weller when I was younger or something, I'd look up to him, and I'm just passing on the information that he told me,
One of my all-time favorites right there, by the way. We do share that, Mr. Paul Weller.
Yeah, he's fantastic. I mean, that's what I mean. He's so inspiring, man. And, and he's still making great records. He's still doing great gigs. And that's where you want to be.
With the Jaded Hearts, that record came out last year, right in the middle of the pandemic, which is kind of one of those like pluses if you look at it one way, and of course it's a con, and the other way that it kind of get, it's in that year where you can't do much with it. Have you all talked about doing any more with that project, or was that sort of just to live in that moment?
And that kind of band is basically, that band is based, that's like a live band, you know what I mean? Because it's just like, it's a fun project in it. It's got great people and great bands, and it's all covers that everyone knows. So it's kind of like it's like the perfect band to watch live. So hopefully next year, I don't know what the plan is, but hopefully we should do some little gigs. I'm thinking next year.
I'd love to see that, because I feel like that's the part I didn't get with that whole thing. I didn't get to see you guys live do that. So, but you are going out live, and I should point that out too. You are going out on tour next year, or it's like next year. You've got the UK tour. Is it just your solo stuff, or do you bring in some of the other songs from the other projects as well?
Yeah, I've been doing a couple of like my songs from the Puppets, like Aviation, Standing Next to Me, Jaded Hearts tunes. I'm not sure. I don't think I would on this tour. I just want my set list to be like, you've got 4 solo albums, the 2 puppets. There's like, I may throw a cover in there. I just want it to be like such a strong, like hour and 15 minutes. You know what I mean? Just like an ultimate, just no fat on the set list. It's just lean and mean. You know what I mean? So, I think it'll just be all the solo stuff and a couple of puppets ones.
Cool. Well, I look forward to seeing some of that stuff. In the meantime, Miles,
Thank you,
it was such a pleasure talking to you. Congratulations on Change the Show. I really, really do love what you're doing.
Oh, mate, that means a lot, man. And hopefully I can come over to the US soon and do some gigs there. That would be great, man.
Absolutely. Well, in the meantime, take care, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, you take care. Have a good one, man. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye. Bye.
My thanks to Miles Kane. The new album is called Change the Show. Thanks to you as well, again, for checking out the episode and the series. Hit that subscribe button before you get out of here. Again, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Acast, Podchaser, NPR, YouTube for the video versions, or anywhere you get your podcast from. Subscribe to Kyle Meredith with. Then after that, head over to WFPK.org. That's where I do a show Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern, an hour full of song premieres, music news, anniversary spins, bonus interviews, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern at WFPK.org. Consequence, they've got your music and film news. You can also find me on the social media spots, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all 3 of them at Kyle Meredith. That does it for another edition. I'm Kyle Meredith. I'll see you next time. Consequence Podcast Network.
It's easy to hear your favorite artist on WFPK from wherever you are. Listen on your smart speaker, live stream from our website at WFPK.org, from Louisville Public Media.